Well, this is the third Sunday in Advent. We're almost there. We're getting closer every day. I hope that things are tracking well at your house. I want you to know that I've been praying for you all as a congregation in this time of Advent, that even in this year we can still be the people who bring light to the world. We can still be like John the Baptist and point the way and say, well, I don't have it all figured out, but I can know someone who can help you. That we can all lean into preparation and the joy of things to come. And I've got a couple of, I don't know if they're announcements or commercials or something like that, but a couple of things that bring me joy to prepare for, and I hope that they bring you joy as well. One is that on Christmas Eve, assuming things stay the same and the governor doesn't put any more orders together about closing, what we'd like to do is keep Nagel Hall and the sanctuary open a little bit in the morning time and in the afternoon, from 10 to 2 here in Nagel Hall and 10 to 5 in the sanctuary, so that you and your family could come in, finally get dressed up for the first time in 9 months, come on in and have a blessing and communion with the pastor, and maybe even get your family picture taken in front of one of the Christmas trees in our worship spaces. We can't all be together for the worship time, but what we'd like to do is be able to offer this to you and to your family. And I'm giving you a couple of hashtags here. If you're the social media type, one of them is the one we've been using all year, hashtag CTK goes viral. And I've got a new one for you for Christmas, hashtag the King is coming. So here, Christ the King, I think that'd be a good way. If you can use that hashtag, then someone else can get on Facebook and search hashtag the King is coming, and all of our posts would come up. And that'd be a good way that we can be community even in a virtual time. We encourage you to consider stopping by CTK. You don't have to sign up or anything, but just know that we'll only allow one family in at a time, and you might have to just wait a few minutes before you come in so that we can keep things safe. Really looking forward to Christmas Eve and spending a little bit of that time together. Also, looking ahead into January, into the season of Epiphany, I'm going to do a 4-week sermon series called Getting Back to Good. And I'm just trying to get you to set your mind on how we might be able to get back to good. I love this picture. Do y'all love this picture? I love this picture because I think it's a real version of ourselves. I didn't want some really beautiful picture of somebody doing yoga on a beach, right? That's impractical. Getting Back to Good is the name of the sermon series, and in it we're going to be able to talk about the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So again, those are the first 4 weeks in January. I hope that you'll come back after Christmas and join me for that series. Okay, so today we're going to talk about what it means to prepare. What are we preparing for? What are we getting ready for? And what are the layers to preparation, right? It's always kind of amazing when you're not the one cooking the meal, how things just happen, right? They just show up. There's just a plate full of food for you. And if you're the one doing the cooking, you're always kind of amazed that it doesn't occur to anybody else what you went through to get this thing done, right? The swarm just descends on the food, and then they just disperse again, and there's dishes, right? So that got me thinking about the levels of preparation. And so let's just stick with the meal example for a minute, okay? There's like the immediate level of preparation. That means, okay, I've got to get the table set. I've got to get the food cooked. I've got to make sure it's the right temperature, it's safe. You know, I've got to put all these last-minute sort of things together. And then there's the day before prep, right? All right, I got to go to the grocery store. I've got to get what I need, or it's in my freezer, which is what happens to me, and I got to get it out and figure out some masterful, safe way to thaw this ham that's been in there for 2 months. Anybody else? Anybody else doing that? Yeah. So that's like day before preparation. And then there's like days before, and then there's like weeks prior to that, okay? You know, some of that food has to be harvested. And a lot of that happens in other countries. Have you ever thought about how much of your food that you eat comes from Central and South America? When we went to Costa Rica earlier in the year, we got to see a lot of how that happened. And it sort of broadened my mind to where our food comes from, right? And so that food is being harvested days and maybe even weeks before, and it's being transported to us so that we can go to the grocery store, so that we can defrost it out of our freezer, so that we can put it in the oven, so that we can put it on the table, so the locusts can come and eat it, right? And if you think about prior to that, like before those bananas were ripe, somebody had to plant them. And some things take years to grow, like an avocado, right? Years go into the making of that. And some things don't even bloom for the first several years, like an artichoke plant, right? Some of these are long-term investments, or an apple tree. It takes a long time. And so in my quiet time this week, I just really got to thinking, like, okay, we can't all just prepare for today and tomorrow and next week, right? And some of us get really sad when we think about the number of people who will be at our table this Christmas. But there is nothing stopping us in 2020 from doing some deeper preparation for our own lives and for the lives of others around us. Even if what we can't do this year, we can prepare for a lengthier future that is there for us to plan. There's years prior. And even if you get deeper than that, there's decades, right? Somebody has to think, okay, this land is good for cultivating, right? And we have to clear it in order to grow, in order to plant the seeds that will grow into the trees, that will bear the fruit, that will be harvested, that will be boxed up and transported to my grocery store that I can go and get. And you see how it goes. We can do that prep right now. We can. There's so much available for us to prepare for. And I hope that we can be those people who prepare on a deeper level. So when you get to this guy, John the Baptist, I think sometimes we get lost in the where is he preparing, right? Is it like a minute and a half before Jesus bursts on the scene? Is it an immediate thing? Probably not. John the Baptist has probably been preparing for years. He didn't just show up in the desert, right? This isn't day 2, right, of John the Baptist lost in the wild, right? He's been out there for a long time. And in fact, the scriptures that he's quoting have been around an even longer time, right? He's quoting Isaiah, which is hundreds of years old by this point. I am the voice crying out in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord. And you know, preparing something like a path, that takes a lot of time. That takes a long time. A path doesn't just show up one day. It gets beaten down. It gets made straight all the time. So John the Baptist has been out there a long time. And if you read John, the Gospel of John, the way they talk about John the Baptist is as the forerunner to Jesus, which means he was probably Jesus' own teacher. And the people who write the Gospel of John are probably students of John the Baptist, which is why they named their Gospel John. Does that make sense? And so this story that we get in the Gospel of John has the Baptist way out in front of Jesus, months, maybe years ahead of time. And then the Gospel of John tells us that Jesus wasn't even like immediate either. He didn't just show up one day, right? As the Pharisees think. Even before that, before the prophecy of Isaiah was made, Jesus already was. John's gospel tells us, in the beginning was the Word. And that Word, Jesus, was God and was with God and hovered over the waters and created everything. So how long has Jesus been preparing to show up to be baptized by John? Not an hour, not a day, since the beginning. And one of the things that people like me just nerd out on is how cool it is to find Jesus, to find gospel, to find that God loves justice, to find those hints in the Hebrew Bible that a Savior is coming, that the narrative flow of history is leading to a covenant where we can't mess it up. That everything that's led up to this point of Jesus has the same dramatic arc, that God sows the same seeds of life in the beginning of the narrative as he does in the time that Jesus is coming. And I just get a lot of joy over this. I know some others in the room do too. There's just a lot in those ancient writings, those Hebrew Bible, Old Testament writings, that point the way to what God is preparing for us. So when I get to Advent, I kind of feel like a kid again at Christmas. I start hearing those things like the Isaiah passage. I start thinking about Mary and the Magnificat, and I just get excited all over again that we get to tell this story of salvation of an entire people, of an entire human race. It makes me think of this phrase that we used to use when I was in theater a lot. We called it the pregnant pause. And the pregnant pause was after somebody on stage gave you some really big news. There was a big reveal. And the pregnant pause was letting your person process what they had said before you say your line. Because in theater, most people just want to say their line, right? But before you say your line, the pregnant pause invites the audience in to what's happening. And that's how I read a lot of these scriptures of the Isaiah passage and the Magnificat. After Mary finds out that she's going to have a baby, there's just a little pause there. And the next thing she does is she sings, "My soul magnifies the Lord." One of the beautiful things about knowing that you have a baby coming is the preparing for it. I can't tell you how many endless hours I spent trying to determine if bumpers, which are the foam padding that goes in a crib, are safe or not, because every 3 years they change what's safe and what is completely wrong, right? The crib that we raised our kids in, we could not give away because it was illegal by that point, right? And you spend all of these hours preparing for a baby to be born. What am I going to, how am I going to reimagine my life? How is this going to change who I am? And everybody tells you to stock up on sleep. What is that, right? That doesn't work. That's not a thing. And you do something that's called nesting. And it's just like a mother bird, right? A mother bird that's getting a bunch of things. Instinctively, she knows to prepare. It's amazing. She didn't have an OBGYN tell her that she's expecting. She doesn't have a due date, right? She doesn't have any books to read. She just knows. I got to go. I got to make a nest. And this is a joy. I think you all know I love babies. I don't think that's a secret to anybody. But one of the joys is watching parents for the first time, or even the second time, or third, or fourth time, nest right before the baby's coming. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm so good. It looks like you're uncomfortable. No, I feel great today. I cleaned the entire house. Isn't that amazing? I'm like, well, yeah, actually, I kind of know why you cleaned your entire house. Maybe if you don't, right? I know that that's nesting. And so I want to share a little bit of our story with you. I've asked all the people involved if it was okay to tell this story. And this is Jacob at 2.5, preparing for his brother to be born, okay? So we're going to see a little bit of this video here. Who are you bouncing with?
Well, no, what are you thinking about?
Mommy, who else are you bouncing with?
Thomas.
Where is baby Thomas?
Too big. He's a big boy.
Can you say, hi, baby Thomas?
Hi, baby Thomas.
I love you.
He's right here. Did you make tunnels for all your animals?
Yeah.
Was that fun?
Yeah.
Y'all, our 2-year-old took all of his stuffed animals and made houses for all of them. And he called them tunnels. He didn't, he's tried to put words to things. And he doesn't know that he's nesting. He does not know that he's doing this. But it was amazing to see for 3 days. Every day he'd get up and he'd put his stuffed animals out and he'd go get his books and make A-frames for them. This is nesting. This is preparing, and it's deep in us. It's deep in us to want to prepare for the next thing. So I'm going to invite you into one of our Christmas traditions, and maybe this will grab hold in your life as well, but we tell our children the story of when they were born on Christmas. That's one of our traditions on Christmas Eve. There's so much of our identity that's wrapped up in how we were born, or when we brought you home, right? You could tell that story also. And in it, we tell them how excited we were that they were coming, how much we prepared, how we looked for strollers, which really don't matter as much as you think they do, and all of the ways we were excited. We painted rooms, we got things ready, we nested, we got ready for you, we prepared for you, and we want some of that excitement for before you were born to let you know that you are loved, that you are a gift to us. And so we hope that by telling that to our kids, they realize how big of a deal it is to bring Jesus home into our lives as well. So I've got one more video for you. This is the day that we brought Thomas home from the hospital and Jacob met his little brother. I'm going to play it before I start crying.
That was a good smile. You want to go sit on the couch and meet him?
Yeah.
He was like,
He comes now.
He's what?
He comes now.
Yeah, he comes now.
you want to sit down on the couch and he'll come say hi to you?
Yeah.
He's sleeping, okay?
Okay.
There's your brother. There's your brother. He's little, huh? You rocking him? That's a good big brother. Let's put him on the floor. Yeah. You can look at him. He's so cute. He's so cute. Tell him it's okay.
It's okay.
There we go.
It's quiet.
Yeah?
I love you, Tummy.
That's right. He's out of my tummy and he's here now. He's here now. Okay. You know what we can do? We can put this, you can see him a little better. Is that good? You can see him. Let's leave him right there. You showing love? God, you're doing a very good job being a big brother, though.
You are so cute, both of you. Rockabye, baby. Is she on?
Go big, baby, Tummy.
He is. Careful.
Let him go to bed.
You think he's tired? He's been sleeping. I think he's waking up. But sometimes, you forget tired when you
Did he kick you?
Gentle.
Yes, we do.
Sometimes in life we prepare for things because they just bring us so much joy, and we can't wait for that to get here. And so my prayer for you is that in this time of Advent that you enjoy the pregnant pause, that you enjoy the preparation, because the journey is life. That's the joy, not the destination. And I have to just tell you, time moves awfully quick. Just absolutely awfully quick, because that video is 10 years old today. Because today's Thomas's 10th birthday. And we tried to reimagine that picture last night. Time moves on. This pandemic is but a moment in our lives. And just know that preparation is in our DNA. So lean in, CTK. Lean into preparing for the joy to enter your life again. Lean in for the new way that you're going to reimagine yourself. Lean in to the joy of life in God's kingdom. And let us always be students of wonder, joy, and the excitement of what it means to be loved and known by God. Amen.